Hi,
Good
Naya.
evening.
Good evening. Hi, Omatomiwa. Hello, Baraka. Good evening, Yinka. Hope we are doing well.
Yes, thank you. Hope you're doing well too.
Yes, I am. Thank you very much. All right, so we're welcome to day 6 of the Power Platform series. It's good to be here with us tonight. And today we are entering the second phase of our training. We ended the last phase, the first phase yesterday, where we talked about Power Apps. So the one what we had was an introduction into the Power Platform, where we talked extensively around the Power Platform product and what we should expect. And as well, we talked about the trial environment and we set it up that day. So days 2 to 5, we had some talks around Power Apps, which we put out to yesterday, and some other content that we would need on the Power Apps. As for now, we would have them recorded and shared with us as soon as we are able to do that. So today we want to talk about the Power BI, and let me just give us an heads up. Today we would have a visitor, hopefully. So it would be joining us towards the end of the conversation today, so that just to have a few talks with us. If you would, I'll confirm that as we proceed into the session. So if he would be joining in, and when exactly we would be having that talk, hopefully he should be able to. So today we want to talk about the Power BI. But before we go into the Power BI setup, we need to have some foundations, lay some foundations so that we understand why we are doing what and some of those things we would expect while we proceed into the conversation around Power BI. May I inform us that this session that we are starting today on Power BI would go for 6 days. So today being day 1 of Power BI, so we expect that after today, we still have 5 more days to go on the Power BI, so which will cover the entire life cycle of building solutions within the Power BI ecosystem. So, but we have some things to discuss prior to we starting the technical bit of things. So let's just go right in. Let me get to this. So now, like I mentioned, we are talking about Power BI, and for the Power BI aspect of things, myself and Noye would be the facilitators for this, just like we did for the Power App. So some of the days you would see me come online to facilitate the session, while at other times it will be Noye who would be our facilitator. So regardless, so we just know that okay, it's either me or Noye most likely. So let's have a conversation. Why data analysis? To start with, we need to understand why we need Power BI. And like we discussed when we started our conversation around the Power Platform, we mentioned to us that Power BI is basically for business analysis. So you have some data within the business that you want to analyze, you want to make some sense out of. That is why you would need Power BI. But then why do we need to analyze data? Why do we need to analyze data? So I'm putting that question forth to us. So I would like to know our perception of this. Why, in our own terms or in our own understanding, do businesses analyze data? So who is speaking on this? We can reduce the raise and icon, so I know we will have some input on this. And yeah, so why do businesses analyze data? Okay, Baraka, please go on.
In my own opinion, to um, to s- to make sense from the data we have, maybe to be able to know because of increase or decrease in sales, in terms of sales, then how we can go forward, then the problems, if, now what I can say for now.
Okay, thank you for that input. Thank you. Okay, I can say Abdulaziz. So please go on.
Yeah, our data analysis is to understand some trends and also to derive the some information um about the trend of maybe the to just to know some trends that we have and to derive some information from the survey of the data.
Okay. Thank you for that submission as well. Thank you. So let me get to Olumide.
Okay. In my own opinion, data analysis has to do with exploring insights from data. Basically, we have large or huge data sets, and we want to understand some certain patterns that can improve our KPIs on business performance and all that.
Okay. All right. Excellent. Thank you, Olumide. I can see Yinka. Yinka, please shoot.
Businesses analyze data to gain insights, performance of their business, and also to make business decisions, and also to make future forecasts about their business.
Okay. Thank you for that as well, Yinka. Mazida.
Businesses analyze data to solve the problems the business is facing or the progress of the business, and to know how the customer flow in the organization.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Excellent submissions, everyone. Businesses analyze data for numerous reasons. Sometimes it could be about their sales. Sometimes it could be so they understand how the product is performing. Sometimes it could be some even internal analysis. So we just want to know where our business lie or what input individual employees are having or are contributing to the growth of the business. So for various reasons, businesses analyze data. But when it comes to now let's leave the spheres of business. Let's come out of businesses. As individuals, do we analyze data as well? Look at yourself, just have a retrospect, some things you do. Have you in any time analyzed data or used data in any way before to make some decisions? Or the question is not clear, maybe
Yes,
I
I have.
rephrase. Olumide?
I said yes, I have.
Okay, could you paint the scenario?
Uh, Project. Basically, my department.
Sorry, you sound a bit low.
You gather this. Okay, I said, can you hear me better now?
Yes, better now.
Okay, I said, school project. I'm
Okay.
from a geophysics background. So we do go out to carry, feed, survey, and all that. Then we gather data. Then in a way analyze the data to bring out anything that are relevant to our work.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for that, Olumide. But is there a situation whereby we want to make a data-driven decision, but we are not actually doing a physical data gathering? What I mean is, for the scenario that Olumide just mentioned now, it had to do with a data gathering phase. So they went to gather data for whatever for the project. Then Subsequently, they now went into the analysis phase. But is there scenarios whereby, as an individual, you just think about some things and then you want to make some data-driven decisions about it without actually coming together, gathering data physically? I don't know if you will understand what I'm trying to say here.
We do.
Yes, we do.
Okay. So now, who has some ideas, or who has some things to say on that? An example of when that has happened to you. You have to make some decisions without having to gather data physically.
Well, can I comment?
Yes, you can.
That if I'm not mistaken, I think what you're saying has something to do with simulation. Basically, I don't have the data. I don't have the free data, but I know some certain parameters, and I have some certain parameters and geometric factors. Certain parameters and sensitivity factors that I can impute into a particular model to give me the data which I'm interested in. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. But let me make this clearer. So what I'm trying to say is, literally, aside from being within the four walls of a business, as individuals,
Okay.
every now and then we make data-driven decision. Let me give an example. For instance, maybe I just got to Lagos and I want to. Okay, Oluwafemi, your hand is up.
Yes.
Okay, please go on.
Yes. Okay, so I'm thinking about commuting every day. So when you commute over a long period, you have data in your mind around routes, around traffic at certain times. And so sometimes when you want to travel, you begin to look at historical data, that helps you determine which route is best. That's just an example.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you so much for that. That is a typical example of how we as individuals we deploy data to make certain decisions. So, okay, Yinka, please go on.
Regarding or addition to what Olumide has said, in terms of commuting, I could remember very well that where I worked before, I usually go on bicycle. So for few days, I was able to look at the time I leave home and the time I reach the work. So the time difference, and after then, I've been able to predict that if I'm leaving home by this time, I should be at work by this time. So to predict the time difference of where when I'm leaving home and when I'm going to get to work.
Yeah, excellent. And that is actually a decision. So it guides you towards, okay, if I'm to get to work at this time, then I need to leave home at this particular time. All right. Thank you for that submission as well. Abdulaziz, let me take yours and then so we can move on.
Yeah, I've had something of such before where I want to order something online, and I try to check the review of some people that have already bought something of such. And while I checked, I decided on some review that I had that, okay, this product should be good. Okay, let me go for it. Let me buy it as well. So I left some review for the ones that are bad. So I decided not to buy the product, while I went for the one that had a good review.
Yeah, excellent one there. So essentially is that for most of the things that we do as individuals, even without considering whatever businesses we are into or whatever organization we work with, we make decisions based on data. Before many of us would want to do something, you wouldn't just want to get to a place and enter into a store. You don't have a brand in mind. You don't have a description of what you want to buy in mind. Many times we are already convinced of what we are going to buy or where we are going to, maybe for relaxation or something. And all of this conviction, they are from the fact that we had leverage on data. So maybe someone described something for us, another person supported that description, another one support, then our mind will be tilted to that, even when there are various brands of that same product. So that is one of the ways we have been utilizing data in whatsoever thing we do. So when we talk of data or data analysis, typically the word is more tied towards the industries because that is where you sit with data physically, and then that is where we have someone that is designated to work on data. But outside of the business, of course, you could just be on your own, just make some sampling, do some surveys around whatever thing you want to do, and based on the collection of those, you are able to make certain decisions. But whenever we want to analyze data, we are actually analyzing data or two types of data sets. So it's either we are analyzing data that has to do with what has gone, or our analysis is about what is to come. So those are the two ways. So it's either we are analyzing the past or we want to analyze the future. So when we analyze the past, so really what we are doing is the typical analysis that we know. That's the typical data analysis that we know. So you are looking at some historical data. Okay, so in the last 5 years that our organization has been in existence, what had been our sales, what had been the growth, what had been the fall, what had been the situation around our products, are we trending in the market? All these are analysis based on what has gone. And many organizations would want to do this so that they understand their present, they understand where they stay at the moment, their status, and also so that that would assist them to be able to plan ahead for the future. So that's typically what happens. So you're analyzing past data so that you understand your status and so that you are able to now work better as to the future that you're approaching. The second kind of analysis or the second kind of data that people work on or the kind of analysis people run is analysis of the future. So the first is analysis of the past. That is when you're working on historicals. Now, analysis of the future, that is when you are now looking at the future to say if our situation continues like this, what becomes of us in the future? Based on these metrics and parameters, what becomes of us in the future? So all of those are things that are around, say, modeling, forecasting, and the like of those. So you do not actually want to analyze what has happened, but you are looking at the future, and based on certain parameters, you change some parameters, some scenarios, you are able to speak to what would happen in the future. So, and that is the aspect that modeling and the likes of those that cater for. But what we are doing, our own aspect of data analysis would be typically based on the past data, and then we see how we can make some decisions as regards what has happened to understand the present, and then to advise the business on how we can actually better certain things within the confines of our businesses. But before we go into the Power BI itself, we have talked about data analysis. Let's quickly look at roles in data. Data has emerged as an industry. Now today, just like in the past, when people graduate from school, many people would say, okay, they want to work in the telecoms, they want to work in the banking sector, they want to work in maybe education sector and the likes of those. But now data has evolved to be an industry. And data being an industry implies that data itself now has a number of roles within it. So when we talk about people that work with data, we are not really talking about the data analyst alone. There are quite a few other people who work in the data industry that all their roles, all their activities revolve around data. So we want to quickly explore those so that for those of us that probably eventually, maybe in the near future, we may want to transition into a full data role, we are going to understand some of the possibilities within the data industry. And then so probably we have a better guide as to what decision to make and what role to take. So let's quickly look at that. So the first of them is the data analyst, as we know. But I'm going to take the first and the second, the data analyst and the business analyst. Let's know the two, data analyst and business analyst, because of the fact that there is only a thin line between these two guys. A data analyst is someone that analyzes data, so to put, just straightforward, put it straight. So we have this guy in an organization. He works on the organization's data. He gathers the data, he analyzes, structures them, analyzes them, communicate the insight to the stakeholders. So that is what a data analyst does, typically. That is the same thing that a business analyst does, but the only difference between a data analyst and a business analyst is that a business analyst has what we call domain knowledge. When we say domain knowledge, this implies that, for instance, if I am working in the energy sector, I studied mechanical engineering and I'm working in the energy sector as a data analyst, as an analyst. What happens is that I would be able to, beyond the normal analysis that I do, beyond just analyzing data, having so much visualization, insight about the data, I would be able to advise the business as regards the insights that I have with them, because of the fact that I have extra knowledge beyond the knowledge of my analysis, which ties to the industry I work in. And that is the knowledge of how energy, maybe energy generation and all of those work. That domain knowledge of that industry that I have would assist me to do more than just the analysis. And so I would be able to advise accordingly as to what is happening in that industry. Let me tie this down. Still talking about the energy industry. We could have some meters on our transformers. So on the transformers, we go there maybe in the morning, in the evening, we go and take the temperature of the transformer. We want to know the temperature in the morning, temperature in the evening. We are gathering that data for a period of time. So after a while, then we now say, okay, let's analyze this data. Let's see how our transformer is performing, how consistent is the temperature, how some other things around it. Because I am not just an analyst, I am an engineer, and I understand what the implication of a high temperature on the transformer means or would result to, I would be able to advise the business that beyond the fact that, okay, we have seen that there is a consistency in the temperature of the transformers. Maybe in the morning is just usually 170 something Fahrenheit. In the evening is usually 300 Fahrenheit. We have seen that that consistency is there, which could make some sense. But now I may be able to now advise them that, oh, the standard temperature should be 250 Fahrenheit in the evening, but we are having 300, so there is something wrong. We need to go and check, call the maintenance people to check what is happening to the transformer. Why am I able to do this? As an analyst, it is because of the fact that I have what we call domain knowledge. And that is the difference between a data analyst and a business analyst. Do we understand this?
Yes.
Yes, I do.
Great. All right. Let me ask us a few questions here. If I studied medicine in school and I work in MTN as an analyst, would I serve better as a data analyst or a business analyst?
A data analyst.
Data analyst.
Data analyst, okay. what if maybe I studied civil engineering, but now I've transitioned into a data role. I now analyze data, but I got a job with Julius Berger. Would I work better as a data analyst or a business analyst?
The business analyst.
Business analysts, are we all sure? Do we all agree?
I agree.
Yes.
Okay, great. So that is typically the difference between the two. But actually, these are nomenclatures too. These are nomenclatures. So you may be taking a data analyst role in some firms or some organizations, but they tag you to be a business analyst. So these are not cast in stone, but based on the specificity that we have within the data roles, this should actually be the situations that we observe in different industries. The next of the data role that we quickly want to look at is what we call the data engineer. The data engineer is that individual that stands really in the middle. He is in the middle of the data analyst or the business analyst and the database administrator. We get to who the database administrator is. So the data engineer is that individual that creates what we call a pipeline. There is something they call data pipeline. And what data pipeline is, just like we have crude oil pipeline, crude oil pipeline connects the refinery or wherever the depot is, connects it to the destination. That is what a data engineer does. So a data engineer creates that link between the database and the end user. So the end user in this sense is the data analyst. So it ensures that data is regularly fed from the database down to the data analyst. And the data engineer usually he assists with some structuring of the data. The data coming from the database might not be structured. You might have to write some algorithm to restructure the data so that it is a lot easier for the data analyst or the business analyst to make do with. The next individual that we quickly want to talk about is the database administrator. Database administrator, as the name implies, they work on databases. And databases, that is the storage for data. So different organizations, they have different databases. So the talk around databases is a bit wide. We have different types of databases. We are not going to that. But database administrator is that man who works on the database. He creates the database, he structures it, it categorizes data within the database, and it ensures that who is supposed to access what has access to it. So the database administrator is the person that you get to. If, for instance, you are working in a large organization and you are analyzing beyond sales data, maybe you are analyzing operations data, you're analyzing finance data, as the case may be. So you may need access to the finance data. Probably you don't have that by default. You may need to speak to the database administrator to allow you access to those data. So that is the work of a DBA. The last of them is the data scientist. The data scientist, what it does is that they explore, they experiment new things around data. And majorly some of what they do is around what we call predictive analytics and some other stuff like that, basically. But essentially what they do is that they work as analysts too. They work on big data, but majorly what they do is that they research, they work on, they produce, they create some better ways around analyzing data. Really, they are supposed to be in the research aspect of data. But all these roles, sometimes we get organizations whereby a data analyst is the one that is managing database, is the one that is the data scientist, is also the data engineer. So of course, there are some peculiarities like that. But by standard, what we should have is there should be a database administrator whose work is to manage databases. There should be a data engineer who is supposed to create those pipelines. There should be an analyst who is supposed to work on the data that has been made available. There should be a scientist who is supposed to research and build some predictive models and some other stuff like that. Do you understand the data roles?
Yes, we do.
Yes.
Okay, any question on this? Clear to everybody?
Okay, can I ask a question?
Please go on, please. Yeah.
Okay, so sometimes you hear about big data scientists. So would that be the same as this data scientist?
Okay, thank you for that. So the concept of big data really is about the volume of data. So when we say big data, you might be talking of, say you are looking at hundreds of millions of rows of data, maybe billion rows of data and the likes of those. And the reason why there are certain data categorized as big data is because of the fact that when your data gets to a certain volume, you may not be able to use some of these traditional tools to analyze them. For instance, the maximum number of rows that your Excel can analyze on any worksheet is just a little above a million row of data. So when you have data that is as much as, say, 5 million rows of data, you may not be able to do that efficiently within Excel. But the same with Power BI, I'm sure Power BI at a point you have some limits to it, but then there are some other tools that are out there that would manage that volume of data that you have. And that is where you might have to deploy some of the tools that has to do with you writing some programs. So you may need to write some Python, maybe use some libraries within Python, Pandas, NumPy, and the likes of those to analyze such heavy data, or you use some other, maybe Scala or some other tools that are out there. But really, big data is just a concept around the volume of data. As an analyst, you can work on big data. As a data scientist, you can work on big data. I don't know if you understand that.
Okay, thank you. Makes sense.
You're welcome. All right. So now a quick review. So we have a number of rows within data. So let's quickly have us mention those. Number one, what is the first row?
Data analyst.
Data analyst.
Data analyst, then
Business analyst.
Business analyst.
business analyst,
Business analyst.
then
Data engineer.
data engineer, then
Database administrator.
Database
database
administrator.
administrator, which is the last?
Data
Data
scientist.
science.
Data scientist. Excellent. Thank you very much for that. So now let's quickly go into the tools for data analysis. As we all know, there are numerous tools for analysis. Let's mention the ones that we know. What tools do we know that people use for analysis?
Excel.
Excel,
Power BI.
Power BI,
Tableau.
Tableau,
Google Sheets.
Google Sheets, someone's hand is up,
SPSS.
Babatope, SPSS,
SAS.
SAS. Yinka, I think you take over this class now. You know more than myself. Okay. I think you mentioned R. Babatope, you have your hand up. Sorry, I can't hear you. Hello. Okay, so any other thing we've mentioned so much?
SQL.
SQL. Okay, yeah, we can do a bit of SQL on analysis too. All right, we have many of them, and depending on the industry, depending on the organization, depending on the kind of data, the volume of data, those are some of the things that will define what tool you are to use. Baba Dokpe, your hand is up.
Okay, please confirm you can hear me.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I wanted to ask then, what about the financial analyst? Can we see it a subset of business analyst?
Yeah, so financial analysts would let me ask us. Financial analyst, is he a business analyst or a data analyst? What do we think?
Business analyst.
Business analyst.
Business analyst, business analyst. Business analyst. Why is he a business analyst?
Because for you to be
financial
analyst, you need the knowledge of accounting.
You need a knowledge of accounting, finance, and like that. Yeah. So it will be safe to say that a financial analyst is a business analyst because of that domain knowledge. Do you understand, Baba Tope?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. So as a data analyst, I cannot really work on finance data. No. So because I don't understand P&L, balance sheet and all, I don't understand those. So, but a financial analyst, because he has knowledge of those, it will be easy for him to transition into being a financial analyst, and then that's more of a business analysis. All right. So now there are different factors that would influence what kind of tool we would use for our data. I've mentioned a few of them. So one of those is the volume of your data. It could be the structure of your data, the industry, the organization. Some industries, some organizations, they have specific tools that they use. That is why when you search for some data analysis roles, you see some of them, they request that anybody applying for this role should know Tableau. Some other places, they want Power BI. Some other places, they want just Excel. But some other places, they want Excel, SQL, Power BI, like that. Some they would want you to know Python. Some they want you to know R. Some they want you to know SPSS. Some they want you to know some other languages and some other tools like that. But for this class, what we would be focusing on is on Power BI. So we want to look at Power BI as a tool for data analysis. And then today we would have a quick introduction to Power BI. So we understand some of the things that revolves around Power BI before we now start to do those technical things. So we just want to set the background today so that we don't just jump into the Power BI ecosystem or working with data within the Power BI, and then some things are strange to us or we do not have better clarity around some things. We understand Power BI is for business analysis. So let's quickly look at the products that we have in the Power BI ecosystem. Like we have for Power Apps, we have a number of products for Power Apps. Like we mentioned, we have Power Apps that you can work with on the web, and then Power Apps that you can use on your mobile. The same is applicable for Power BI. So for Power BI, we have three products essentially in the Power BI ecosystem. The first of them is the Power BI Desktop. And the Power BI Desktop is that desktop application that you install on your system. It sits on your system. And it is there that you are going to analyze your data primarily. Let's not start. So most of the work that you would want to do whenever you are analyzing data on Power BI would be done on Power BI Desktop. And that is what you have installed. And to put it straight, Power BI Desktop is free for use. You don't have to get any license to use Power BI Desktop. But some other products in Power BI, in the Power BI ecosystem, would require that you have some licenses. So that's Power BI Desktop. It sits on your system, and that's where you analyze your data primarily. The other product is what is called Power BI Service. And the Power BI service is the online version of Power BI. That is the software as a service product in the Power BI ecosystem. And what that allows you to do is to access your reports online. You have some reports that you have built. You are able to access them online. You are able to share your report. You are able to manage what people see on your report. You are able to monitor things within your report on the go. That is some of the things that you can do on your Power BI service. But Power BI service works on the web. So before you can get to use Power BI service, you need to go on your browser, go to powerbi.com, and then you sign in. So this requires that you have a license. You cannot use Power BI service for free. You need a license to use Power BI service. So you need to sign in, and then you will be able to access those reports that you have built on your Power BI desktop. And the last of this product is the Power BI Mobile. So we have a Power BI mobile version, which like we have for Power Apps, you can go to your iOS store or your Android store, download Power BI, and whatever reports you have on your Power BI service, let's note that you would be able to see it on the Power BI mobile. So let's talk about the flow. So the flow of activity within the Power BI ecosystem is that you start working on the Power BI desktop. When you are done preparing your report on the Power BI desktop, you publish that report onto the Power BI service. So your report is now online, and your report that is online on Power BI service now, you can now view that report on the Power BI mobile. So the flow is Power BI desktop, down to your Power BI service, then to your Power BI mobile. Is this clear to us?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I have a report. I have a report that I've built on my Power BI desktop, and I want to view it on the Power BI mobile. What do I need to do?
You need to publish it.
I need to ensure that it gets to Power BI service before I can view on Power BI mobile.
Yes.
Great. Can I build my report on Power BI mobile after downloading Power BI application?
No.
No.
No. Correct. Okay. Can I build my report on Power BI service?
No.
No, given the flow.
Given the flow. Okay. Although for some situation you may be able to do some things that are related to report building on Power BI service, but we'll see those later. But just telling us the actual or the normal flow. The normal flow should be from Power BI desktop to service, then to mobile. So that is the flow. So let's proceed now. So now we want to quickly look at what is next here. Just hold on. So we want to look at the building blocks of Power BI. So when we say the building blocks of Power BI, so what we are saying here is that there are certain things that we put together that becomes whatever we see on Power BI. And so also so that we understand some nomenclatures within Power BI. Okay, so when we talk about the building blocks of Power BI, there are 5 things essentially. There are 5 things essentially when it comes to rebuilding whatever thing within Power BI. And these are those things. We need to understand what each of these mean, and also we understand how one would lead to the other so that we don't begin to confuse certain things. The first is data set. You actually cannot build anything within Power BI if you do not have the data set. There has to be data. It is the data that you want to analyze. So your data must be somewhere. So your data has to be somewhere. Your data must be sitting somewhere. And that data is what you want to analyze. So there has to be a data set. It is from that data set that you now have a visual. So what we call a visual in Power BI is more like your chart. The chart, your graph in Excel, one of it is what we call visual in Power BI. So you build a visual from that data set. Maybe now you are looking at, say, revenue by region, or we want to look at our sales by product. So you have a bar chart that is telling you how your sales is by product, or you have a line chart that is telling you what's the sales trend from January to December. That is a visual. So a visual would come from your data set. Then when you now have collection of visuals, when you have collection of visuals, then what you have now is a report. Visual is one, which is coming from your data set. When you now have collection of visuals, like you have 2, 3, 4, 5 visuals on a page of Power BI, then that becomes a report page. That becomes a report. Let's get this clear. We have our data set. From the data set, we have build a visual, which could be a line chart, it could be a bar graph, it could be whatever kind of chart. Then if you now have two or more, just collection of those, more than one on a report page, on a page, that becomes a report. And after then, you now have selection of specific visuals from this report, because on a Power BI file, it's possible that you have a number of pages, just like you have on Excel. So on Excel, on an Excel workbook, you can have like say 4 or 5 worksheets or more than that. So now on your Power BI, it's possible that you have quite a number of pages of report on your Power BI. Then from all these pages of report, you now have specific visuals that you want to monitor. You pick a visual from page 1, pick another visual from page 2, pick another visual from page 3, and like that, put them onto a page that becomes your dashboard. Okay? And then we have the tile. So what is the tile? Just normal, the actual tiles that we have in our homes. A space that a visual sits on your Power BI service is what is called a tile. That is a tile. So you have a space that you have your, what's it called? Your line graph, the space it takes, it's like a plot of land that it takes, that is the tile there. You have another, a card visual, or you have a dashboard, that is a tile. So let me just quickly run through this again. We have the data set, and the data set is where everything analysis would start from. So from that data set, you build a visual, which is your normal graph that you know. And from that visual, then you have additional visuals, a collection of visuals that gives you a report. From your report, you have some selected visual that you want to monitor. That gives you a dashboard, and whatever space each of the visual is taking on your Power BI is what is called a tile. Do we understand this?
Yes, I do.
Yes.
Do we understand? Do we understand?
Yes.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, great. All right. So I want 3 volunteers. 3 volunteers. Let's indicate by a raise of hand. Okay, I can see 1 hand up. Are we scared? We don't know what the question is. Okay, I can say, okay, 4 hands up. Great. All right, Baba Tokpe, begin. Pick one of these and explain what you understand by it.
Okay, so I'll be taking reports, and that report is a collection of visuals.
Okay, collection of visuals. That is report. Okay, is there a limit to the number of report pages?
No, there's no limit to it.
Well, there could be a limit, but maybe not something that is close to we actually actualizing, but there could be a limit. But it's fine. Report is a collection of visuals. Okay, Baraka.
Data set.
Sorry.
Okay, so data set.
Data set. Okay, what's your understanding?
Set of data analyze.
The data you want to analyze. Is that what you said?
Yes.
Okay, great. All right. So what you have gathered, your data that you have gathered that you want to analyze, that's your data set. Just literally. Okay, thank you for that. Okay, Abdulaziz.
Visual is like the graphs, the maps that we generated from the data set.
That we generate from the data set. All right, thank you for that. Okay, so we would explain dashboard. dashboard, who would explain? I can see a few hands up. Okay, so Babatope, your hand is up again. You want to speak to that?
Yeah. So before now, I do mistaken reports for dashboard. Yeah, but now I now see dashboard as selected visual that you really want to monitor.
Yeah. So thank you for mentioning that. So many times we read online, people talk about report and dashboard and they use them interchangeably. Of course. So some places, even in some organizations, they just say, okay, let's see your dashboard, let's see. Whereas what they are really talking about is the report. But by Microsoft nomenclature, report is actually different from dashboard. So report is general. Dashboard has to do with those specific visuals that you want to monitor. So those are some specific differences between them. So, and who is talking about the TAO? Not Babatok, but someone else who has not spoken yet. Baraka, you have said something. So could we, okay, Oluwafemi, please go on.
Okay, so that's the space that the visual sits on.
Correct. So that's the space that the visual sits on. So that is a DAO. So thank you very much, everyone. So that is the building blocks of Power BI. So now we understand the flow. So from your data set, you get the visual. From visual, you get report. From report, you can get your dashboard. And the DAO is just a space where the visual sits on. So well done, everybody, on that. So like I told us when we started the conversation today, that we would be having a visitor. Our visitor is here and is a very good brother of mine, a senior colleague who we've been together for quite a while, and then is very much supportive on journeys like this. So I'm happy to invite David Abu to speak to us tonight. So just he has some messages for us around Power Platform, some of the prospects. Of course, you might have some questions to ask him as well as regards what could be some of the benefits of learning this product. So by way of introduction, David Abu is an analyst. He's an analyst, is a Power Platform developer, and at the moment he is the Power BI cloud advocate at Microsoft. So David Abu works with Microsoft, and he is the Power BI cloud advocate. So good evening, David. Are you there?
Yeah, good evening, Muslim. Thank you for bringing me. Hi, everybody.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for joining in.
Good evening.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Okay, so there's nothing much to say. If you have questions, please just ask me. Any question?
Okay, so let me begin with this, David. Yes, Power Platform, not everyone knows about Power Platform yet, although Power BI, people have been using Power BI for quite a while. So that seems to be more popular. But when we talk about Power Apps, Automate, and Virtual Agent, it seems they are just making the wave. What do you think the future is like when it comes to this product?
Okay, so one thing that we should note is that the best time of Microsoft is now. Many of us might not know the story of Microsoft before 2007, or let me just say before 2012. But the current CEO of Microsoft, Satya Nadella, is 10 years in Microsoft time. And according to research, according to what people have said, this is the best time of Microsoft because Microsoft have moved towards enterprise to open source and also to cloud. Now, one thing about cloud is that cloud is the future. Everybody knows that. So you have heard of everything going to cloud. Power Platform is also cloud. So even Power BI is cloud. So you can't do your dashboard without cloud services. You can't do tiles without cloud services. Even your reports, there are some of the things that you can do on cloud. So now the idea is that Power Platform on its own is a cloud service. And the future is cloud. So you knowing it means that you're actually having a skill set for the future. Another reason is that companies are beginning to move because of the rate of um, virtual meetings, because of the rate of hybrid workplace. Companies are beginning to have alternatives to solutions sitting on their system, to solutions sitting on cloud. And that's why you notice that Azure is one of the biggest cloud computing after AWS, for those who know AWS of Amazon. So Azure is the next. So Azure is actually becoming the major cloud computing machine for all cloud service. Your Power Platform is on Azure actually. Everything, Dynamics 365 in Azure, everything is on Azure. For those who maybe don't want to become DevOps engineer, it's still on Azure. You have to know a cloud service. And that cloud service is either you're learning the one of Google, or you're learning the one of Microsoft, or you're learning the one of Amazon. And the one of Microsoft is Azure. So it's still cloud. Generally, it's still cloud. So you need to understand it from the perspective of not because it's a Power Platform, but from the perspective of industry perspective. Where is the industry going to? The industry is going into cloud. So which type of cloud service can I understand and can give me an edge? Power Platform, Azure, Dynamics 365. All these are one of the ones that you can learn. Yeah, I hope I'm able to answer your question, Musi.
Yes, thank you for that, David. So, do you have questions from some of us? Please, we can raise our hands, and so we know how many questions we have, and we can take them at a go. So the other thing, okay, Ablaziz, please shoot with a question.
Yeah. Actually, I just want to ask if the David also will be among the facilitators to take us through this course.
Okay. Okay. So David is actually our teacher, and he has so many boys now. David, am I right to say that?
Continue.
So David would not be coming in as a facilitator. So, and I'm sure that David has a number of certified guys that can facilitate this, and he would just sit back to just sit back to watch what's going on. So, but for whatever thing that we may need, David's expertise on, of course, we can always bring him in. I'm sure he would be always willing to assist us further on this journey. But as a facilitator, no, David would not be coming in as a facilitator, really. Yeah. Okay, Oluwafemi, please go on.
Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, so for someone who is not so knowledgeable around computing, what's the simplest way to explain cloud computing services?
Okay. So just stay. Don't mute yourself. No, don't mute yourself. Don't mute. Don't mute, Oluwafemi. I want to ask you a question. So, okay, where do you save your contact?
Okay, my contact is on my Google account.
But before, where do you save it?
On SIM card on phone.
Exactly.
First, we started with SIM card.
Exactly.
And then
so on phone. So it means that if you lost your SIM, what happens?
Your contact is gone.
Exactly. But immediately you take it to your Gmail account and your Gmail is online and it's cloud. Immediately you buy a phone, a new phone, and you log in your email and password. All your contact comes in, Abi.
Yes.
That is cloud. It's just as simple as that. What it just means is that the things I save on my system, normally when you save your Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, you save it on your system. But Microsoft is saying, no, don't save it on your system anymore. Save it on cloud, your OneDrive. So now you have something called OneDrive inside Microsoft where you save on OneDrive or SharePoint. Now, immediately you save, it means that immediately that your system have any issue, any issue, and you say, oh, okay, I need to go and change my system, immediately you log in back into your Microsoft account, the account that you have, let's say a company account. So I don't know which company that you're working for. Definitely everybody have an email account for any company that they work for. Yes. So that company, immediately you put in your email and password, everything comes back. That is just cloud. It's as simple as that. Now, to the next level is that everything should just not be on your system. It means that if it's on your system, it means that they call it on premise. But I don't want to go into that statement. But what it means is that it's on your system. Anything that happens on your system destroys the files that you have. But we don't want it to be on your system. We want it to be on cloud. So if you are doing Power BI reports, take it on cloud. It becomes Power BI service. If you are doing your Power Apps, Power Automate, they are already cloud. So there is no, it does not sit on your desktop normally. So anything that you're doing becomes cloud immediately. So for us, for basic understanding, cloud means online. That's just what it means. Online. Anything that does not use online is not cloud. I hope you understand now.
Yes, I do. But I was just thinking the people here who do not have that understanding.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
Yes.
Thanks for asking that. Then thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Luafemi. Thank you, David, for the response. Olumide, let's quickly hear from you.
My question is this: concerning the cloud, how safe, how safe is the cloud? Because I believe something has to go somewhere, something has to be somewhere. If we are saving our data into the cloud, then it means there must be something. Let me say, like a capacity or something, like um a limitation in terms of let me say big or something that the cloud can occupy. How safe, how the data protection, how safe exactly? That's my question.
So, Balogu, let me ask you back. Let me ask you, how safe is your account? Your account?
Like Gmail account.
Yeah, no, your normal bank account. How safe it is? The money inside it.
50-50.
50-50. So, but that is on the lighter note. But the real thing there is that now, let me explain something. There's something called data centers. Maybe everybody can Google data centers. Data center is, you know that your system have 8 gig RAM, 16 gig RAM, sometimes something like that. That is your they call it, that is what you can carry. Same thing as your phone, 4 gig, 8 gig, 64 gig, something like that, 32 gig. That's what you can carry. But now for companies, for Microsoft now have something they call data centers, where all these data are stored. So now you don't need to store on your system, it goes straight to data centers. And also is that yes, security is a big thing all over the world. And it's one of the biggest career all over the world, security. That is cyber security. It's one of the biggest career all over the world, cyber security. So definitely Microsoft as a whole, everybody has to be vigilant. You don't click any type of link. As far as it's a normal thing. If a link is coming out from, imagine you're receiving an email from outside the company. Do you know that Outlook will ask you that, are you sure you want to open any link or any PDF file or anything like that? Is a security concern. So something like that. So definitely everybody has to make sure that they are security conscious. It's a normal statement. You have to make sure. But on a normal thing, cloud is big. Everybody, the whole of Fortune 500, 95% of Fortune 500 are in cloud service and they're using Azure. That is how big it is, and that is how the security is so big. So I don't have issues. I don't think you should have issues with security. The whole world is in cloud service. The whole world is in cloud service. Everybody's talking about metaverse. Everybody's talking about Web3. Everything is cloud. So security definitely will increase, will improve as we go on. It's a normal statement. It's going to improve as we go on. But definitely, I think everybody's trying their best for security. It's not a one company thing, it's everybody. I hope I've answered your question.
Yeah, Olumide. Okay, all right. Thank you, David. So I think we have. Okay, Oluwafemi, is this from a former hand you raised? Okay, all right. So now, thank you for the responses, David. So I just wanted to do one more thing before, so we don't take so much of your time on this call tonight. We have a program coming on, which is the Power Platform Bootcamp. Would you want to say some things around that, please?
Okay, thanks. The Global Power Platform Bootcamp that is happening at the University of Lagos, I really want to see everybody there. If you can attend physically, we're currently looking at more than 700 people at the event. So, and you're going to meet a whole lot of people who are into the Power Platform space, who are even Microsoft people who are into Power Platform. You're going to have the country manager for Microsoft Nigeria coming in to talk. You're going to have so many big people that is in the Microsoft space generally that you can ask questions. But there are going to be technical sessions of Power BI, Power Apps, the different stack that is inside of Power Platform. So it's one event that is community based. This is a small community right now. You're 13. This is a small community. We also have different parts of Lagos that we have small community. But that event is like bringing all the whole small community of Power Platform people and bringing them into a one space, and we discuss and we talk and we network, and that is what the event is all about. And I think that it's going to be worth your while to be there. We did it 2020, we did it 2021. If you just go to any, I think Microsoft Build and Microsoft Ignite, they are the two biggest events in Microsoft that happened last year. Check the events. You're going to see our pictures there. You're going to even see me there. Why? Because the Microsoft CEO, the worldwide Microsoft CEO, Satya Nadella, took our picture and was talking about the things that we've done in the community. So it's beautiful to the things that we've done in the Nigeria system. We have different locations that is going to be happening: Lagos, Oyo, Edo, Jos, Osun. And I think that if you are in Lagos, if everybody here is in Lagos, I think that February 19, everybody should register February 19, and you should make sure that you are a participant at that event.
All right, thank you so much, David. And for those of us that we are not in Lagos, so we have other locations too within Nigeria. For those of us that we are in Ibadan, so there will be that same event would happen at the Polytechnic Ibadan.
Polytechnic of Ibadan, yes.
Yes, at the Polytechnic Ibadan, so we can make it a date with them or with us in Ibadan. And then for those of us in Oshun, if you be in Abuja at that time, I think it would happen in Abuja as well. And Jos, I think, David, am I right?
Yes, Jos and Oshun.
Jos and Oshun. So, but for those of us that are in Lagos, it would be a nice place for us to come and meet people. We are not the only ones that are learning Power Platform or currently working with the Power Platform. So we have quite a number of other people that we would be able to discuss with, network with, and you never can envisage what would come out of such gatherings like that. Maybe that is when we'll meet some people, and then they will even give us some better resources as to how we can further our learnings around the Power Platform, and probably some other opportunities that might come our ways. Olumide, your hand is up.
Sorry, that was a mistake.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much, David. I want to believe we don't have more questions. It's nice having you on the call with us this night. Thanks a lot for honoring the invite. We hope that maybe some other times, if you would need you to also come and pay us a visit, you would avail us the opportunity.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Right. Thank you very much. Okay, so everyone, we have 15 minutes to the end of our session. So let's quickly have a recap of what we've done so far. So let me on share my screen so we quickly have a sort of a revision. So tonight we started our conversation around data analysis and we spoke about the roles in data. So let's quickly have us mention the roles in data. So what are the roles in data? Can we shout it out?
Data
Data
analyst,
analyst,
Uh-huh.
business
business
analyst,
analyst,
Business
data
analyst,
data
engineer,
engineer,
data engineer,
database
database
Database.
administrator,
administrator,
database
data
administrator,
scientist.
data scientist. Excellent. Thank you very much, everyone. And we also went ahead to talk about the data analysis tools. And for the choice of data analysis tools, I mentioned to us that there are a number of things you would want to consider. Can we mention a few of those things?
the
The
size of the
structure of
data,
the data.
Size of the data,
Structure of the
um,
data.
the structure,
The industry organization. Where the data
industry
is.
organization. What else do we think? We could also consider the mode of consumption of that data. So if from the major consumers or from the reports are those that would want to access that report online, that may be one of those things that we consider in the choice of the tools that we would use for that particular what's it called for that particular analysis. And we also mentioned, we discussed some of the tools that we can use for analysis. Can we quickly recap a few of those?
Excel.
Excel,
Power
Power
BI,
BI.
Power BI,
Google Sheets,
SPSS,
Google Sheet, SPSS.
Tableau,
Okay, Tableau. Okay, thank
iSense,
you. Sorry,
Python,
iSense.
Python, iSense. Okay, okay, excellent. All right. So what's the building blocks of Power BI?
The
data
data set.
sets,
Data set,
visual,
Visual.
visuals,
Report.
reports,
report,
dashboard,
Dashboard.
dashboard,
dashboard,
and
and
tiles.
tab.
Tab.
and tile. And we mentioned that report and dashboard, some people use them interchangeably, but there seem to be some differences. Of course, yeah, if you want references for this, we need to read up some Microsoft documentation on this. But by Microsoft explanation, report is different from dashboard. So who can explain the difference between a report and a dashboard?
Yeah.
Well, we said report is a collection of visuals, then
Okay,
dashboard is more or less like what we are interested in, the visual we are interested in.
the visuals you're
We
interested
want
in. That you want to monitor. And usually what you have on your dashboard are sort of KPIs. So maybe you want to measure the sales growth, you want to measure maybe the trend. Some major KPIs are usually things that you have pinned onto a dashboard. So those are some of the things that we were able to cover in this session tonight. So let me just confirm before we call it a day. Do we all have our Power BI desktop installed now? Everybody? Please use the
Yes,
result
Oh,
icon. Okay, Baraka, no. Everyone, if you have it installed,
No.
please use the result icon so I know the number of people who are yet to install. You can see 3, 4, 5. Okay, so Baraka, what's the challenge?
my sister, the laptop I have does not have enough storage space.
Enough storage space. Okay, and you can't you can't delete some things to get some space.
No, because the space originally is low. So I even needed to install Microsoft Office the other day.
Mm-hmm.
It's even not functioning well. I can't use it.
Wow. And if Microsoft Office is not functioning well, I doubt Power BI would work well even if you install it. So, but could you get an alternative system at least to practice out the Power BI when we begin?
No, I'm not sure. No.
Okay, so just we see how we can practice some things out, but probably I think the better thing might be that if it's possible to move some of those files onto what's it called, an external drive, maybe that would relieve the system of some space and you will be able to install. And you can actually uninstall some of the applications that you are not using at the moment so that you can catch up with the learning as well. Okay. Olumide, your hand is not up. May I know what the challenge is?
Well, I downloaded the software on the desktop.
Could you be more audible, please?
I said I downloaded the software on the desktop, that's on the laptop rather.
Okay.
So, but I don't know. I'm finding it difficult to install the software.
Okay.
I actually saw two how I call it now, two places where you can click on to download. The first one was X64. Then the
Okay.
other one they just nothing. So I downloaded one of X64. I tried installing on my laptop. Just back once I'm back.
Okay, so you need to confirm something on your system first. Is your system 32 bits or 64 bits on the processor? 64.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so if it's 64, the X64 should work. So you may just need to confirm the other specifications. So I think that is also stated on the Power BI download page that I shared with us. So we can check some other specification. Maybe there is an incompatibility issue. And I hope you are not using a Mac. Are you using a Mac?
No, I'm not.
No, okay. So you might just need to check some other compatibility specifications there. So to be sure that all those specifications are actually met by your PC. So, but if by Tuesday you're still unable to install, please raise it on the group so that we can, probably someone on the group would assist to see how you can install that.
Okay.
All right. Okay, I can see Abdulaziz. So what's the challenge?
No, I don't have any challenge.
But you didn't raise your hand. That's why I called you.
No, I raised my hand before. I've lowered it.
Okay, so just keep it up. Okay, Mazida.
I've downloaded it.
Okay, but I didn't see your hand up. Omotomiwa,
I'm
how
sorry,
about
I'm
you?
going to my.
Okay, no problems. Omotomiwa.
I'm here. I'm with you.
Okay. Yeah. So what's the?
I'm actually just downloading it now. So from the Microsoft Store.
Okay.
So,
all right. Okay. So, but yeah. So just confirm as soon as you're able to download, so that we know that we have a number of people who has it already. So then okay, I can see Sarah. Sarah, have you downloaded it, or what's the challenge?
Yes, I'm about to download it. I wasn't with my system yesterday, so I couldn't download it. I'll download it during the week.
Okay.
And I'll
Okay.
inform you. Yes, thank you.
Okay. So please, those of us that we are on it at the moment, as soon as we have those, please let's confirm on the group so that we are sure that we all have the software. Okay. Yeah, I think we're good. Any question? Let me lower people's hands so we know.
Sorry, I have a question.
We have a question. Yeah, shoot.
Yeah, I have a question. My question is that when we were doing the power apps, is it possible that we have Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so is it possible that we have an app that can serve both the client and maybe the developer?
Explain that. How do you mean?
Like, I mean, when we have like three parts. I mean, the three types, like the porter, the data verse, and the other one, the built data built something driven, something like this.
Model driven.
Driven, model driven. Yes, thank you. So, like I'm now saying, is it possible that we have the one that can both serve the client, maybe the customer, and also the person that developed the app, that built the app?
Yeah, that's the bit I want you to explain. How do you expect, or how do you want the app to serve the person that built it? That's the bit I want you to explain.
Like maybe, for instance, if somebody is maybe if somebody, like, you have a work shift like this, and the employer developed the app for you as an employee, maybe to check your shift, and maybe to do some, maybe to select the shift and all. So now the employer now wants to check if the employee has already picked some shifts, and maybe want to see some changes, or they ask you to upload some documents to your, maybe on your portal, something like that. Then they now want to, maybe you have to send the document to them. Then once you did, maybe once you are done with the document you sent, the employer will be able to see the document that, yeah, it has been successfully uploaded. So something like that.
Okay. So what's one of the major benefits of the Power Platform is the way things can be integrated. So in your scenario, the best option around it is you have the app built the normal way you want it built, and then we are going to link it to Power Automate. And what Power Automate will do for us is Power Automate will serve as a bridge, in the sense that, so when this user that we expect that he fills out something on the app, once he has filled out, he has submitted whatever form is to fill out on the app, we want Power Automate to trigger an email that would go out to maybe the line manager or the director or something. So that is where the integration bit comes in. So, and that's one of those things that we are going to be looking at the later parts of the course. How we can integrate Power Apps to Power Automate, how we can integrate our Power Automate with Power BI, Power Apps with Power BI. We see some use cases around those, but that will come at the later part of the course. I hope that answers your question.
Oh yes, thank you.
All right. So I think we don't have any more question. So it is a minute to 10. I think we are just on time tonight. Thank you very much, everyone, for being on the call with us, for spending the night here or a bit of the night here to learn some things around the platform. Olumide, you have something to say?
Yes, sir. Please, I don't know if you can just please share maybe the flyer for the program coming up, is it February? The one you said will be anchoring in Lagos. They can just share it on the WhatsApp platform or something.
Yes, I will share all details as soon as we're done. So I'll send it on the platform so we can register, and we find all details. I will share them with us.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right. So thank you very much, everyone. Hope to see us next week. And when we come next week, so then we're gonna start with data prep. So everything around analyzing data within Power BI is in three phases really. So we have the data preparation stage, then we have the data modeling stage, and we have the data visualization. So we'll start with the data preparation, and that's what we'll start with Saturday when we come, God willing. And we'll have some data sets that we would use for the data prep. So I'm going to share those with us most likely before the week runs out, maybe on Friday or thereabouts. We should expect to receive the file from me. And if there are other communications I would want to have with us, I would send them via email. So thank you, everyone. So see us on Saturday. And let's revise our notes. Let's revise everything we have done so far. All right. So thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you.
All right,
Bye.
thank you, Musin.
Thank you, Muslim. Good night.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.